All right, fellas, here we go again. We're back. We're
We're
back.
back.
Talking about the defense this week. Talking about them cornerbacks, linebackers, the D line, and the safeties. We're not going to leave out the coaches this year. They're on the hot seat. Man. I'm telling you, they are on the hot seat. Trey wanted to trade them last year. Big Guy wanted to trade them this year. What we gonna do?
Blitz.
Yo, Jack Del Rio, my man. He came in hot. Good defense the first year. I don't know what happened this year. What happened? It's a story that can't be told. Because we're not in the locker room, so we don't know. All we know, it was trash on the field. Trash.
It's hoods, memorials, and monuments. They protest and climb the White House fence, suckers.
In D.C., decay corpse, dirty Cadillacs, Desert Eagle cannon blast. Watch your back, D.C.
It's taxation with no representation. Half the time the government out on vacation. And projects they still freebasing. Youngins need a leader. This shit nowadays, I gotta call the Masons.
Slouch slumps in the summer. Youngest on the corners be runners. Out of towners be straight up goners.
In D.C., decay corpse, dirty Cadillacs, Desert Eagle cannon blast.
All right, we're back. So listen, we're going to start out with the D-line since we're going to go from front to back. The D-line, which is supposed to be our strength. Whole bunch of number one picks on that line. And I can't really say they really performed that well. They didn't perform like they should have, like we thought they were going to do. They were supposed to be strength. Obviously, we lost our number one pick in Chase Young. He's the alpha on the line, but he wasn't showing up either. I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't like his play this year, even before he got hurt. So it could have been a sophomore slump, perhaps, or perhaps we just projected him to be better than he was. What do y'all think, fellas? That D-line. There it is. I'm going to pull it up. Obviously, this is the D-line from the start of the year. In the nickel package, we got Chase Young, Allen, Payne, and Montez Sweat. Let's start with that four. Obviously, we had some people coming in out of the bench, but these are the first four that you see on a daily basis. Sunday afternoon. Big Al.
Well, I got a lot to say on this, man. I was
Well, talk about it, homie.
I'm talking about. I was excited about the D-line start of the year. I was very, very excited. It showed so much promise the first year together. So much promise. So the beginning of the year, I was so excited. Oh, Jesus, DMV, we were all hyped. We was ready, baby. We wanted to be your ambassadors of the D-line. You know what I'm saying? We was ready for the D-line. And then the reports you were hearing from training camp that they couldn't be blocked. They could not be blocked. They had to temper down the D-line just to get some running the offense because the D-line just wouldn't let them run the plays.
That's right.
We was excited about it, especially when that the LA Chargers game started. We just knew that we was going to see this onrush of sacks and hits and and Herbert was going to be running and this and that. And it just didn't happen. Oh my God. They were garbage from the opening moment.
Garbage.
Opening moment.
Y'all saying garbage, man.
Trash. Opening moment. We didn't get not near sack. I think we had. They were garbage.
Man, he said it was garbage.
That's right. Hey, I'm saying it with my chest too. Hey, Tracy, I'm saying it with my chest too.
You are, sir. Yes, you are.
Look, our expectations for number one picks to dominate, not to be average, not to be okay, not to be just regular, but to dominate. Each and every one of them as a number one pick, and especially our alpha leader, Chase Young, and what he showed the year before. Mm-hmm. You figure it's going to take a year or two for them to get their coordination together. So this year was supposed to be the year they were supposed to take it to a whole notch. And the year before, Chase Young had a motor that you never could stop running. It was just running. But the opening moment of the season, until unfortunately he got hurt, his motor just wasn't the same. So unfortunately, starting from the alpha dog himself, he gets a D from Big Al. He gets a D from Big Al. Oh. My expectations is very high for you, Chase Young, and you got a D for that opening moment on to where you got hurt. Unfortunately, I'm hoping that you heal and recover and get back to the team. But unfortunately, Big Al gives Chase Young a D, and I'm a Chase Young fan. And let's go down the line.
A D is trade, Big Al.
Huh? Oh, he's a D. The motor was not there. Did you see the motor?
I'm messing with you. Go ahead. Go on.
The motor was turned down to a lawnmower. It wasn't a
dragster no more.
It was a lawnmower, baby.
One cylinder.
And then my man Sweat. I just knew he would be trucking people, just running people over. And unfortunately, his game was weak. He was weak sauce this game too. Not as weak as Chase, but weak. My expectations is very, very high for Sweat. His first 3
not as garbage as Chase, but he was
garbage, but he was the garbage on top.
He was weak. It was weak. Unfortunately,
what was the difference?
My man Sweat. When does Sweat get Trey Z? He gets a D too. He gets a D.
The
bookends gets a D. A D.
Technically, the shape of a D is built for bookends.
I'm a fan. They get a D. And then the two big guys in the middle, I was suspecting them to pick people up and throw them around. Payne did not do that. Allen was the only one that was an enforcer. He turned out to be the alpha this year, and he was the only one that I'm gonna give a B- to. But my expectation was high for him too. But unfortunately, Payne gets a C-. Because Payne played the whole year. He was availability. He was very available, and he didn't get this run over, but he wasn't dominant. He was just a guy out there. But as Trey and Deacon like to say, hey, they're professionals, they're pros. And that's what he was. He was just a professional D lineman. Now Allen gets a B+, I would say, because he was pretty. He had his moments. He's definitely a Pro Bowler. I had a little bit more expectation for him. I figured that guys around him would bring him up even higher. He didn't get that quite 14, 15 sacks I wanted, but he was competitive. He gets a B- to a B+, somewhere in there. The overall D-line, starting D-line. Now, we're not talking about the guys that filled in, that just trying to make the team and all that. The starting D-line that we started the year, the overall D-line gets a D.
Okay.
Hey, Z, what you got, baby, for that D-line?
Before you go on, Trey, let me ask Big Al this thing.
Sure.
Allen got a fat contract at the beginning of the year.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Is B good enough?
No.
For the contract.
For the contract?
For the contract and not getting hurt as a Washington football team.
He was available. The B is borderline professional. He earned his money, but he wasn't an all-star. He was not. That's what I wanted.
Okay. What about the fight? Give me your impressions on the fight between him and Payne and the way they went forward on that.
Hey, man, look. It sounded like we were getting embarrassed that game. Allen was the only one that cared. He's from the DMV area. He cared about beating Dallas. Payne was just out there being professional, Deacon, Trey. He's a professional. He wasn't speaking, but he didn't have the passion that Allen wanted. Allen called him the B word, and it led to one thing led to another. And that's what happens when you the alpha dog, you're trying to push people to care. And hey, man, you only play Dallas twice a year. You got to put your best effort out there. And Payne was just being professional. And you would think after he stole him that he would play harder, but he didn't. He was just out there.
Yeah, he
scared him. He missed, but he scared him.
That was the killer. The killer was we didn't see it on the field after.
On the field at all. So I mean, the starting D line is a D, man. It's just a D. I mean, it's just a disappointment. I'm hurt. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I had so many expectations for them. They were garbage. It's not good enough.
Tracy, what you got?
Hey, man. It's good to see the passion, at least here in the OG show. But my man Big Al's passion, man. I thought he was about to grab tissue. He's so upset. But it's good because it is what is needed. But I don't disagree with him on a lot of levels. Chase Young's performance and Sweat. I'm gonna lump those two bookends together. I remember very, very clearly individuals were yelling out numbers like 20, 30 sacks. Yeah, man. We were dedicated because we knew of our interior guys. We just knew that we were going to see some amazing things. And then I'm going to come from the more strategic side of it. Al went straight old school, gunpowder, bite down on the mouthpiece and get in there tight. They weren't doing that. But at the end of the day, I was also thinking to myself, I was like, well, where's the coaching? That strategic, cerebral, like somebody grabbing one of them dudes by the face mask, say, yeah, I could do that because I'm the goddamn coach. And what are you doing? If I see you run outside one more goddamn time, it's lights out for you. You will not see the field. Trust me. Today, you are going to go and get somebody today. I'm going to make you get a sack. And, what? Nope.
I'm going to cut you off. Remember, we're going to do the coaches last.
I said, but this is what you're doing.
I know. You can't separate into the coaching. Now, I want to know what the players did on the field.
The players did what the coach allowed them to do. How about that? Those guys ran up the field and they ran right past the play each and every time. Quarterbacks love to play in Washington because they pack their running game stats up. It's a wide open lane. We give it to them every time because some reason, going back to your boy Payne and Allen, they weren't pushing players into the quarterback or clogging the middle. There weren't run stoppers. I don't think that we didn't have the physicality to be a run stopping team. So I end up falling back to the coaching again, thinking that you don't want me to talk about yet. So it's just weird to me. Now you keep talking about these guys. Now keep in mind that Allen did get the stats. If you want to, how many sacks did he get?
He got 13.
13 sacks. Interior lineman getting 13 sacks is pretty decent year. If we're going to give grades, I would continue to say that he was a B+. But he was out there by himself, fellas. Basically. Now,
why he punching people?
Now, he got paid. So technically, you would think that he would be the one that wouldn't be, that it's usually the stereotypical situation that happens, but that didn't happen this time. So that kudos to him. Sweat, very disappointed in Sweat, but he, both of those guys are bookends, man. The years were tattered with all kinds of stuff. I mean, from an injury to losses to everything. It's COVID. It's just a lot, man. And so if I'm giving grades, I'm going to agree with Al with the bookends both get a grade of D, but I'm going to put an asterisk beside it. And that's only because they didn't see the field the year. I mean, I don't know how many games between them they didn't touch the field. And that does matter. And we're not talking about everybody who fills in. That's what Al said. So we're going to underline. And then with Payne, salvageable, C. I agree. I mean, I can't argue any of those things. Overall rating for the defensive line, definitely, I would say a D+. I'm going to say a D+ because of Allen. And he was there. If it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't have had any sacks, So just sticking with the defensive line, I do want to give an honorable mention to my man Settles. Every time he gets on the field and sees the disrupts and things, I hope they give Big Boy more play. Ioannidis, I was a little disappointed. Ioannidis, a little disappointed.
He was coming off a knee, though.
Yeah, okay. But again, just still disappointed. We just, overall, what we went into salvating. We couldn't wait for our defense to touch the field with this new improved, quote unquote, healthy defensive line monster mash that the league had us basically dominating You know, I mean, we were the talk of the town for 4 games. The first 4 games, they were like, where is the defensive line? Where is the defensive line? What's going on? I mean, commentators just asking like, yeah, they didn't say nothing about anybody else. I mean, not the fact that Fitzpatrick sat down and never to play again. Not the fact that anything else. All they talked about was, hey, what's going on with Washington's defense? What's happening? So, and why Al was so passionate is because that was our backbone, i.e. the major strongest point that did not show up.
Two questions. As far as Montez Sweat is concerned, do you think he was a victim of all of the injuries on the line, his cohort on the other side being out for most of the year, where he can be double teamed and stood up to it? He doesn't have the free reign as he used to like last year when everybody was concentrated on the other fella who got hurt, Chase Young.
So,
go ahead, Tracy. Answer that question, Tracy. Answer that question.
Let me say this. So, if no, I don't agree with that. I think that a professional defensive end of his caliber has to play and supersede those things. For example, Von Miller. Von Miller got picked up, and everybody was like, "Ah, he's done." Same guy, same person. Your boy who lost his fingers in the firework thing. Same guy, same thing. Both of them face adversity. Both of them going through a lot. Both of them seem to make those plays, man. To be a defensive end, you have to be a disruption. And I'm going to say this. Not that I'm talking about him in any way, like, you guys get all excited when I mention his name, but Ryan Kerrigan is an example of that. Ryan Kerrigan will give you at least per game 4 disruptive plays where you're like, where has that been? Every game. We missed that with our bookend. We didn't get anything like that. It was like, so that's why you see Ryan Kerrigan doing that pose. It's like, hey, he got one. He was almost like you knew he was going to get one. Eventually, you might have wanted to see 2, but that's what we were talking about. With our bookends, we were like, I just want to see him chase the quarterback or get close. It was like they were just dancing. It was a dance card fest. So, no, I don't agree that it was circumstance. Go ahead, Big Guy. I want to hear what you got to say.
Well, Deacon, I mean, and Trey, I feel like, football is not a hard game to play, especially on the D-line. These guys, I know for a fact, I had a friend of mine's son played with Chase Young. This young man's been playing D-line since he was 7 years old. Mm-hmm. So this is not a new sport for these guys. So yeah, maybe the first year you're trying to learn the different players in the league and trying to learn some of but after the second year, man, football is football. And it's, and it's about being, a desire, it's about, a force, aggression, and it's also that all the years of you've been playing since you were 7 years old, putting that to practice. These guys have been studying football since they were children. Mm-hmm. So yes, you would like to say, okay, now I'm a professional football player. It's going to be a little different, but really, man, especially in the D-line, that's an instinctive type of position where, spin move is spin move, swim move is swim move, using your strength and trucking the guy back into the quarterback. You start off doing that when you 8, 9 years old. It's the same thing. And I just didn't see the effort level from my defensive ends, especially. I saw Allen with a lot of effort, and that's why I think he smacked Payne around too, because the effort level just wasn't there in the whole starting defensive line. And that's what was so disappointing to me about Sweat and Young, is that the year before, with no fans in the stadium, you know what I'm saying? And this is much controversy going on. They had a tough year the year before, but those guys' motor level was high. Yeah. And I didn't see that and I think that's why, unfortunately, I'm gonna say this, that's why Young may have got hurt, man. He wasn't putting out that 100% effort or that 80% effort. He was out there just going through the motions to me for a lot of the year that I saw. And that's the reason why you didn't see the effectiveness. He wasn't as effective as he was before. He had, for his first year, he may not didn't know the offensive lineman, and maybe it was a step up for him, but that motor level was high. That got him 8 or 9 sacks. But this year, his motor level for that first couple of games that he played was very low. It was very disappointing. I don't know why, it just was. So maybe, that's what was disappointing to me, is that I just see the effort level from all defensive linemen except for Allen. Allen was the only one, and Settle too. I agree with you, Tracy. When Settle got out there, his effort level was high. He was out there putting work in.
Well, with that said, as far as the defensive line is concerned, since y'all giving kudos to Settle and Ionitis and the guy Allen, no, I'm saying he liked the we all liked Ionitis before he got hurt.
Right.
He's gone through a year of injury, and next year, hopefully, he's back to where he used to be.
Right.
So, does that mean that with the agitation between Payne and Allen, and you got these guys who are ready to go on the bench? I mean, I just say that they're coming off fresh. That's why they push so hard. But with that said, is Payne ready to be traded? Because he's on his last year next year, right?
Well,
one more year on the contract is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's on his rookie deal. They can add another extra year because he's a number one pick. They can add a fifth-year deal to his years. So he would have 2 more years if we decided that we want to keep him for 2 more years. And that's the possibility. You know what I'm saying? Because Payne is a force. I'm not saying he's not. His 50% or his 60% is better than a lot of professional football players. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for the 80 and 90%. And that's why I think Allen was upset, is because his effort level wasn't the same. Same thing with Chase Young. Chase Young's 75% is different from those guys that filled in for Chase Young's 100%. You know what I'm saying? Because those guys that filled in, was it Bradley King and all those, and Tony and all them, they were out there giving 100%, and their 100% was able to, have us win 4 games. At least get some pressure. You know what I'm saying?
So your argument with this is that you didn't see the effort.
Yeah, that's why I'm so disappointed.
The whole line, you didn't see the effort.
Except for Allen.
Except for Allen, yeah. All right, so let's go to we're gonna move along here. Let's go to linebackers, where we had Bostic start out the year, but he got hurt fast. Then you had Holcomb and Jamin Davis really play the bulk of the year, and I would even add Collins in there to linebacker because he was down playing in the box a lot. So these guys, obviously Collins came down there and he probably started a new career once they put him in linebacker.
Saved his career.
Yeah, because he was roughing it up back there in the safety.
Saved his career, man.
Jamin Davis looked a little out of sorts for most of the year. I think he started to get it toward the end, but it was just too late. Too late for this year. Hopefully with this whole off season and being in training with the team, having the playbook and all that stuff, he might be able to step forward this year coming up. Because and I think what they're going to do, and I'm just going to put this out here, is they're going well, it's not just me, but I think people are saying that we're going to draft a true middle linebacker, or get a true middle linebacker in free agency and put Davis and Holcomb on the corner, on the outside, as outside linebackers. Because both of them are fast. Both of them should be able to blitz, if nothing else, and check the tight end out or the back out.
Blitz.
I'm just saying. I said if we so. But what do y'all think? Trey, you go ahead and start on this one.
Linebacker didn't improve. It didn't improve.
This makes me want to burn this motherfucker.
It's what we had. Cole Holcomb, and he's a guy. He has, but he does have flashes. You'll see him do certain things, and then you're like, okay, but he's limited, and I think that his athletic ability is just, he's not as fast, not as quick. I think his football IQ saves him a lot. I think he does adapt, because I know he's probably not getting the calls, but again, I digress. But Jamin Davis has the athletic ability, but what I saw with Jamin Davis was probably a younger Bostic. That's what I got this year. Where if Bostic, Bostic, when he first started playing, wasn't the Bostic that we got.
Yeah.
Okay.
So slow though.
Yeah, but he's this Jamin Davis athletically was a situational linebacker that when he got in those situations, like you said, he did not know what he was doing. I do not believe there's any kind of acumen going on in Washington where they're actually in there studying any book or doing whatever. I don't see that because it just doesn't translate to the field. I think he was going to be the same guy. I think if Jack Del Rio allows him or to, fire off and let go a little bit, then you might see something. But yeah, and I hate to do it, but I'm going. Huh?
You mean they move him to outside linebacker?
No. I'm just talking about just allowing him to use his ability. I think one time I saw him in one of those games that they looked like they was using him as a spy, and I was like, oh, looked like somebody heard what we were talking about. But and I think he could be effective in that regard because of his athleticism. His tackling isn't horrible, his tackling isn't horrible when he gets the opportunity to do so. But I think he looked timid out there, and I have my ideas of why. And you like we've always said, all of our players that come to Washington got to get coached up, and that's what we lacking in, man. Go ahead, Al.
Holcomb played, to his level. He played some decent ball. True linebackers, he had one linebacker. It was Holcomb. True linebackers. Collins came from safety and reluctantly moved to weak side linebacker, and he played really good ball during that 4-game win streak, but he got hurt. And one of the reason why he didn't want to go to weak side linebacker is that he didn't want to take on guards and tight ends and stuff like that. And that's how he got hurt, because he was taking on, I think, a tight end, and tight end got him. And he ended up getting out for the season.
You know what I mean? So he's not unaccustomed to getting hit by big dudes. You know what I mean? He weighs 185 pounds anyway.
So if he's going to play weak side linebacker, he's going to have to bulk up a little bit more to play that position. But he played it pretty well, and that's a better position for him than safety. He just lost a step when he was playing safety. The coaching staff, and I'm not going to get on the coaching staff too much, but they had made a decision early. When Boston got hurt, they made an early decision that they wasn't going to pick up any quality linebackers. They was going to lean on Davis. Davis is going to be the middle linebacker. He was going to be, and Davis is making the calls, and they was developing him to be the next guy from Kuechly. They had the speed, the size, and everything. And they were talking about, they drafted Davis to be the next Kuechly, next middle linebacker, to just roam and make plays. And again, another young man, well, they tell me, young man, he was a military kid, good kid, played football all his life, and he played linebacker.
Outside linebacker.
He played outside linebacker. He was when he got to Kentucky though, he played middle that one season in Kentucky. His last season, we got to draft him. They moved because they had an injury too. And they moved him to middle, and he played good ball for Kentucky. That one good season, he played good ball for him. That's why we drafted him, and we reached on him. Everybody said we reached. Everybody had him as second, third round pick. We had him as the best linebacker and the best middle linebacker that was on the board. And we put him out there. Boston got hurt. We put him out there, and he just wasn't good enough. He just wasn't good enough, And again, football's not a hard sport. To me, it's not a hard sport. So either you know how to you either flow to the ball or you don't know how to flow to the ball. You need to, you need to how to beat a guard or beat a tackle to make that tackle or make that play, or you don't. And when I saw him, he just did not have the skill level to flow to the play side properly for some reason. And when somebody tried to block him, he stuck to the tackle or the guard or the center, whoever tried to block him. He was stuck like glue to him. He could never get off that block. So when he did make a tackle, he was 10 yards down the field, grabbing on the back of somebody's shirt, hanging on. So And I saw the exit interview from Ron, and Ron said, "Hey, look, we want him as a middle linebacker, but he's obviously not a middle linebacker, and he's not going to play that for us no more." So basically, he was a bust. They're going to try him at weak side linebacker, the position that Collins played next year. That's going to be his new position, is the weak side linebacker. Okay. Holcomb can play middle, but that's not his natural position. So now they, like you said, Deacon, they talk about getting the middle. Holcomb can play it, and Bostic, we all know, is too slow, and he's already injured, so he's going to be even slower. So we know that. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately, the linebacker, we had to give a grade. The linebacker core gets a D-.
Oh, D. Yeah, I can see that.
And Deacon, I'm going to say this on premises. My expectations were so high for the defense.
Yeah,
so,
I get you.
So that's the reason why the grade level is the expectation for the offense wasn't this high. But the defense, I had us the top 5, top 6.
You weren't the only one. I would give our linebacker core a C because, and I'm gonna say
Collins?
they did better than last year in that middle. The middle was still trash, but it wasn't such a wide open, just, it was Candyland the year before. It was that bad. Even with our better defense, it was just like, that's where you go. This time, even with the passing game, the team didn't pick us apart from the middle as much as they did last year, the year before. So
you have to realize we played nickel that was our starting D line. We played nickel. We had safeties playing linebacker. Cam Curl, Collins, all of them were playing. We were bringing in safeties playing linebacker. And you're right, on the past possessions, we did a lot better job. And Holcomb did take a step up. He's a 5th round pick, and he played more. Well, he definitely played much better than Davis, you know what I'm saying? But he was a contributor. He played a pretty decent linebacker. He's the only saving grace, him. And then Collins coming in. That's why I gave us a D. I didn't give us an F because of Collins and him. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that makes sense. Because the one thing that's going to happen, I think, at the end of this, before this year starts, is that we're going to dump the contract to Collins. He's out. So moving Jamie Davis to the outside, having Holcomb as the outside, and then I think not the easiest, but one of the easiest positions to pick up is a decent middle linebacker. Somebody who knows how to play middle linebacker. A dude, because we don't have a dude right now, big guy. So we need at least a dude.
We don't.
Yeah, so I think we can do that as far as picking that up and creating more havoc on the defensive defensive linebackers. So I think we're in good shape there. I think Jamie Davis can go to the outside and be a better representation of what we expected him to be. Now, maybe not as a middle linebacker, but he's going back to his original position.
Right.
Okay? Which is better than going to a new position. I mean, playing that middle linebacker, man, you got a lot of responsibilities.
He didn't handle it well.
Responsibilities, and that's hard on the rookie. Some rookies can pick it up. Sometimes the defense calls are just that simplistic, where you don't have a lot to do except for your job. But that's not Jack Del Rio's style, I'm assuming. So let's go to the cornerbacks, fellas. Cornerbacks. So we picked up a cornerback. We dropped the cornerback. We had a lot of turnover when it came to cornerbacks. But you got Jackson III, who was a new guy this year. He had to learn a new system. Fuller is in his 2nd year of this system. And I would call Collins a linebacker. So, and we had St. Juice that came in and played pretty good for us for a while. I think they'll get better. I'm not always excited about Fuller because I think he's a pretty average cornerback. A lot of people like him. I'm not real sold on him, but he's in the right place at the right time sometimes. So I will give him that. I think next year when Jackson gets a full year in the system, I think that he'll play better. And obviously St. Juice is going to be in there as well. So he may be playing, inside the corner, nickel corner, excuse me, and all that stuff. Anyway, what I'm saying is that I wasn't excited about the cornerback, but I wasn't excited about them last year when we had the other 23. You know, I used to say his name, but that's not. So cornerbacks, I'm gonna say that they lived up to my expectations of a C minus. I was expecting the line to get more pressure so that they will look better on the back end. And without that pressure in the front, these guys were just exposed. And I just think that's what happened. Big Al.
I tend to agree with you, Deacon. Because of the D-line, poor performance, we wasn't, it exposed the secondary. Jackson was supposed to be a man-to-man corner. We picked him up from Cincinnati to be a man-to-man corner. We're going to do more man this year. Mm-hmm. And we picked him up. And because the D-line was so weak, we really couldn't play man. You know what I'm saying? Like Tracy was saying, man, the D-line was rushing out of lanes and all that. It was just, we had to go back to the zone because the D-line was so weak. So, that's not what Jackson does. He just wasn't a zone corner. That was his expertise. Well, Fuller is more of a zone corner, Deacon. Mm-hmm. That's what he is. He's not a man-to-man guy. He's more of he plays the position. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I was happy with Cam Curl. I mean, he was him and Allen were the stars of the defense. So I was happy with Cam Curl. Bobby McCain was just a guy. He got 3. I think we're
doing corners right now, big guy. We're doing corners.
Oh, I thought we was talking about say my fault. My fault. I was happy with Danny Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah. Danny Johnson came in for Fuller. Fuller could not play the slot. Yes. They put Danny Johnson in, and he played the slot a lot better than Fuller did. Yep. And so I was happy with him. He was a special team guy. Yep. And St. Jude, I thought St. Jude was good too when he played in. I think he can replace Fuller. I think that'd be my natural person that I might want to replace is Fuller if Jackson can improve in the zone and play a little bit better because he didn't play zone. Jackson didn't play zone that well. So if Jackson can improve in the zone, I might put St. Jude's and then put Danny Johnson played good slot corner. So I like St. Jude's, Danny Johnson. I thought Fuller was his typical self. Jackson needs to improve on zone. I give them a C+, man, just because my expectation wasn't that high on them. So I give them a C+.
Solid C for me. Solid C. Unfortunately, injury bug, with our secondary. Mm-hmm. Secondary was considered the weakest link on the field when we came into the season.
Yep.
And St. Jude stepped up to the challenge. I was very impressed by the young man. Again, injury bug. Then you had the Johnson kid. Yeah, man, he was like surprising me. I looked up a couple times, like, who's this guy right here? Who's Johnson? You know what I'm saying? The way he was playing, it was like, who is Johnson? And Fuller, whatever it is when he puts on the burgundy and gold, he's just a guy. When he goes other places, he's the man, but he's just a guy here. But he's serviceable, and every now and then you'll see him do something that's like, there you go, that's the Fuller we need.
Right.
And then there's the other times like, there's Fuller. So overall, like I said, solid C. It was a solid C to be the weakest link and to keep us in games. They kept the lid closed a lot. There was, the whole Apke fiasco the year before. We saw a lot of deep threat. Didn't see a whole lot of that this year, man. And that speaks to, the safeties are involved, but that does speak to your corners, man. They kept the lid on things, and so I give a C.
A C. So I see you mentioned my man Troy Apke as a throwaway, but we won't discuss that.
He's a quarterback. He's a quarterback, isn't he?
He's a quarterback. That's what we're talking about. Cornerback.
That's right.
Right.
I thought they was going to send him. Yeah, I thought they was going to send him. He almost caught that, stopped that ball on the 1 yard line in that one game.
Until he kicked it in the end zone.
Yeah, but that's all right. Apke, baby, he's still on the team.
Yeah. All right, so y'all got Fuller coming off the bench next year. That's what y'all doing.
I think we can see an upgrade from our young guy. That's a possibility. Yeah.
I think that cornerbacks and secondary as a whole need to be harmonious, man, and you play them according to the talent on the field on the other side. And whoever does things best, you put them out there. No egos, just get out there and ball. And once we get that kind of thing going on, now you're developing a franchise defense and not just a good defense.
Yep.
Well, the last position on the field, we're going to go with the safeties, which McCain probably played half of the year at safety. And Cam Curl just played both of them the whole year. You know, he was rotating because when Collins would play safety, Curl would move over. And then when Collins would go down, McCain would come in and Curl would move over. So he was pretty, I mean, for, what was he, the 5th round pick or something like 7th round?
7th round pick.
Round pick.
I mean, listen, we do later round picks better than we do first round picks, apparently.
Obviously.
When we just throw darts at the wall, man, we got it going on.
Don't matter. That's what I've been
So,
saying.
I mean, for me, you know, Curl does it all. He's the man back there. He's the, if he's not captain next year, I don't know what they're doing.
They're gonna be doing trash things on a trashy defense. They're just gonna say a lot. Go ahead, Al. I'll let you start this time, man. But
Well, I'm just going to talk about Cam Curl and the fact that he was like, a lot of times he was linebacker, safety. He was a lot to the defense. When that one game, I think he missed one game for COVID. It was he was out for protocol or something like that. It was a big difference in the defense, man.
Yeah.
It was a big difference in the defense. He could really see night and day. So Cam Curl was excellent. You know, like I say, 7th round pick. You know, I think they just got lucky. I don't know if they were that talented and picked them like that, but
no, it was. He stepped up.
If you look at it though, they picked William Bradley King late.
Yeah,
was late.
Yeah, they
late picks.
You know what? That also goes back to what Big Al said, and I want you to remember. And then those of you who were listening, y'all remember by clicking the like button and subscribe, please. It helps. But Al said he didn't see up in the front the passion, the dedication, the energy that is needed. And when you are a late rounder and you do touch the field, that's a different athlete out there.
Right.
It's not, you're not that guy who's confident and comfortable. You're playing for, you're trying to eat. Legit. You're legit. And there's a difference. And hopefully, culturally, you're playing for your squad. This is where you want to be. This is what it is. Oftentimes now we just look at people, the team idea aspect has been erased, you know, in professional sports a lot. You just show up as a agent versus a teammate. You get what I'm saying?
Didn't we say the same thing about Chase? That he was a different kind of guy. The motor was always running.
So here's the thing. And I do believe that the reason why we in a couple of games where we just didn't look like we were trying or the lackluster, I give Chase this. He's the cheerleader. He is the king of supporting his squad. His performance versus him motivating his players. And I said this, I don't think that fight would have happened. I think there'd have been some bickering, but I don't think that fight would have happened if Chase was on the sideline. I think he would have said something that would have got them to go, all right, Chase, man, damn, shut up. And they would have went on about their way, but it wouldn't have been gotten to that point. Right. He is the cultural icon. He became the face and a leader. A leader leads from the front. And he was always that guy. Now, did he perform? You know, I don't like when he comes off and he just keeps saying it. He was very Ron-esque when he spoke on the sideline, like, you know, we just gotta do better. We gotta be. I need you to get upset. I would love to have seen some more passion on that level. But then who am I? You know, sitting on this couch. But I do know that you got a bunch of young guys who want to be here. Do they want to be in Washington, or do they just want to check? You got to decipher that. And then if you can get, you pay your boy. And I know this is a whole different side of the ball, but you pay him because he's the other guy that's going to help these quarterbacks or these number one linebacker in free agency who's out there to come to Washington. They're not just coming for the check, y'all. They need that cultural thing. See, if a middle linebacker right now is needed in Pittsburgh, they're gone. They go into Pittsburgh because they know that's a defensive-minded squad and there's a culture there. If a middle linebacker is needed in San Fran, they're gone. Same thing. We gotta develop that, and that's key. That's key. Now, if I was just to add, Cam Curl was a beast. He's been a beast. I'm so impressed by that young man, and I said it in 2 shows back. We have our safety in Washington. He didn't get the fanfare needed to fill in that spot that hasn't been filled since 21 left. But I think we got him, y'all. I think he's here. He's still growing and still learning, and he's doing what he does, man, quietly, humbly.
Yeah, he's another one I think needs to be signed and extended his contract and all that. It was Cam Curl. Bobby McCain he had 3 interceptions. He was just a guy, though. He was
3 interceptions got him moved next year. He's on my squad.
He may got another contract for next year.
He did it at the last minute. He was like, you know. Hey, look, McCain. He went to his back of his jersey. McCain.
Spell it right on my contract.
I am not leaving. And I was like, you got it, Bobby. You can stay 1 more year.
I'm trying to think who else. What was the other guy that came in the backup to Reeves?
I like Reeves. I think Reeves.
Reeves was a, he could play that Bobby McCain type position too.
And he also comes off the bench quite well. I don't necessarily see him starting, but I can see him coming off the bench like he does. And
then we had your boy. Who was your boy? Tracy play safety 22. He always knocks himself out. Ever.
It wasn't for half a game.
Well, he got burnt that one game. Remember?
No. I think that was they had a bad call. There was adjustment. I think it was the cornerback. The cornerback should have told him what the plan was, and that didn't happen. And he got.
He's a professional cornerback, professional safety. I get him to tell you what you got to do.
Hey, but I tell you what, he's the hardest hitting man on the team. Now he'll knock himself out, like Al says. But that's what you got to do. Sometimes you got to have that one guy who's going to deliver that kind of blow.
Keep him on special teams.
I only seen 2 people do that. That was him, and I think I saw was that Carroll came down and filled the hole one time, one good solid hit.
Yeah, I think probably.
There was like 2 major hits in the whole thing. Oh, and your boy, who was that that took out the tight end? The other tight end in Philly just took him out with that hit.
Was it Danny Johnson?
I don't think it was Johnson. It was. I can't remember. But anyway, ideally, I need to see more of that.
If I had to give the safeties a grade, I would give them a C+. Just because my expectations wasn't high, and Cam Curl really came through, and I could see him getting even better. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of faith in next year that he's going to take the next step where he's all pro. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
So I think I'm going to give him a C+ as for what they participated in the 2021 season.
Yeah, I think he's definitely getting noticed around the league as being a real safety.
Right.
One that we haven't had for a while. So
right.
I'm keeping Bobby McCain just because I want to see him in the second year of his contract in this system. See if it's him or see if it's Jack Del Rio, which we are moving to right now. Our fearless leader, JDR, the man with the plan, the man who makes all of the decisions on the sideline. Shade boy, what you gonna do? Jack Del Rio, he is on the hot seat. If he don't turn this thing around next year, man, and if he doesn't, if Ron doesn't fire him, Ron may be out the year after that. He might not get 5 years because we got too many first rounders on the line. We got too many players that have come here from other places that have played very well. We have a system that is not fitting our rookie for some reason. It's a lot of work to be done this offseason for the defense. And Jack's got to get it done. There's no other way around it. If he doesn't get it done this year, then he's got to be out. He's got to be out. There's too many good defenses around the league that got less than what we have. Trey?
When you, Trey?
On me.
Yeah. We're going to get your coaches out the way.
Y'all know it. Y'all see it. There's no need to argue. No, I do want to hear some apologies, though. Last year, I told y'all it was coaching. Y'all were like, nah, you got to give him another chance. It's scheme, it's time, it's this and that. You got to gel. About 12th game in the season, I started hearing y'all saying certain things that I said. Because I always, right, fellas, I'm trying to tell you, Jack Del Rio, man, look. When you already have the other coach from the other side out coaching you, you don't need to be calling the plays. All right? And that's Jack Del Rio's problem. When we get to a situation, and you guys have seen it, that we've had certain successes, he changes it up the next game. We were successful. Let the other team show you that you have to change. Make your adjustments then. Just be prepared to make your adjustments during halftime. We used to joke. We said, don't go into the locker room during halftime because just don't make the adjustments. It gets worse. And that is coaching, folks. When you have your players going at each other, in that coaches meeting, somebody needs to be talked to, because there needs to be somebody over there making sure that you have the temperature of your players to know exactly what is going on. When you don't see your players out inspired and giving it up, somebody needs to be over there giving the proverbial kick in the butt and say, hey, what's going on? Why are you not doing what you need to do? There's a problem. Now, I know in the NFL, probably they don't run laps and up downs and stuff, but there's something that a coach, those good coaches, do to motivate these young players, these millionaires into playing. And that comes from somebody outside of the captain, because they would have to give him captain/coaching money. Jack Del Rio is not coaching. He's calling plays. And that's the difference. Coaching is a level of leadership that goes above and beyond. And he doesn't do it. We don't blitz in Washington, folks. I'm telling you. I already ordered them. I got about 100 T-shirts. You can get it right here on DMV Sports 3. It says we don't blitz in Washington. You can get it in burgundy. You can get it in white with the burgundy words. It's all there. We don't blitz in Washington, and everybody knows it. And that's why the game is the way it is. We like Al said, we were slated to be top 5 with no blitz, 0 blitz. And then if it's going to be a situation where you say it's the personnel, then bring in some real personnel. Because that's what everybody want to say. Al last show, Al said, hey, we got nothing but scrubs. Everybody's a scrub. Everybody ain't a scrub, because we beat Tampa. We beat Seattle. We beat some teams, man. We can, but you got to coach, man. And the defense, I think, is as Al said, the best way for us to do it, the fastest way for us to do it. Because defensively, we can build faster. But the coach got to believe. And you're right, Deacon. If Ron Rivera lets this guy just coach us into this, this soft, sugary defense of ours, man.
So before you go, Big Al, are we putting too much pressure, putting too much blame on the defense because we had so high expectations of it? Because the offense didn't do us any favor. They didn't do the defense any favors by having them out on the field a lot. And we know that the more you're out on the field, the less effective you can be as a defensive squad. Now, well, that's my question. Was it too much pressure put on them because the offense was no good? Either one of y'all.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say this, Deacon. I was listening to Brian Mitchell on the radio, just to answer your question, and he said that he had his best coaching in his career in high school. From a high school teacher, math teacher, but the man just knew football, and he was able to break offensive down and break so Brian Mitchell could really clearly understand, and he got the best. He said a lot of times, the time you get to pros, all of that simple stuff like how to tackle, how to be aggressive, how to keep your motor on, how to stay in shape, all that simple stuff, they expect you to know it. They expect Jamin Davis to know how to flow to the ball.
Mm-hmm.
There's no teaching that. He's been playing Little League, junior high school, middle school, high school, college. You don't teach how to flow to the ball time you get to the pros. They don't do it though. So your best coaching is done way before you get the best coaches, Tracy, are not at the pro level. The best coaches are way back in high school and maybe in college. You know what I'm saying? Or even
I agree with that, Big Al, and that's my thing. My thing.
So we can pound on our coaching staff, the professional coaching staff, because what they're supposed to be is strategists. That's what Trey Z's criticizing them too. They don't coach. They don't teach you how to tackle. They don't teach you how to fill holes and all that. So defensively, I'm gonna say about our coaching staff, the D-line coach, he gets an F. And the reason why he gets an F is his talent level. These guys were at Alabama, Ohio State. They were at SEC schools. They were the top schools in the country. College teams. They were professionals when they were 18, 19 years old. And he didn't get the most out of his defensive line. These guys, our whole strategy was to lean on our defensive line. We put all our number one picks for 5 years in a row, or 4 years, or 5 years in a row. All we picked was defense. We were building our team on the steel curtain, like the old Pittsburgh Steelers, steel curtain kind of formula. We built our whole team. We passed up on quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after wide receiver just to get a good defensive line. And so they were supposed to produce. And our D-line did not produce. The coaches do hold responsibility when you got all that talent. Now, when I talked about Turner last week, I said, hey, the talent level wasn't the same. We got 3rd and 4th round picks. We got people that play wide receiver in college, now they playing running back. We got people who play quarterback, now they playing tight end. We got all kinds of stuff. We trying to mix and match.
Hodgepodge, right?
Hodgepodge. But on defense, we got Alabama, Ohio State.
Pedigree.
We got the pedigree. We got the top of the line people on defense. So yes, coaching means, and this particular, from a strategy point, when you got all those top people that are supposed to be the number one pick and improving, you don't get drafted number one unless you were shining in college. You know what I'm saying? You were shining.
Shine bright like a diamond.
So when you see these guys not performing at the professional level, it's not so much of the X's and O's or the basic, tackling and stuff like that. It's just their strategy is not at the level it needs to be. And that's the problem we're struggling with, is that when you see Chase Young not getting sacks, hold up, what's going on, Chase Young? Let me get him in a better position to get sacks. Let me move him around. Let's get Payne in a position where he can push, maybe he need to go in the gym and work out a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? All of that is part of coaching from a pro level. And the strategy that I seen, that our defensive staff did was at a high enough level, especially at the D-line, especially at the linebacker too, because we didn't train our number one pick. You know what I'm saying? So these levels were weak, you know what I'm saying? And they definitely don't get an A. They definitely are going to get a D, because we didn't see them produce like the franchise wanted them to produce. We invested. That's where our money is invested at, is in defense. That's where our talent level is invested at, is in defense. And they didn't produce. Yes, the offense didn't help out at all with the injuries we had. The fact that, but these guys are supposed to make turnovers. Hey, even the Dallas Cowboys put some investment in their defense, and they got turnovers
in 1 year.
In 1 year. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't see that. So I have to hold that to the coaching staff too. And I have to say I'm in agreement with Trey Z. The strategy level from, not the coaching level, not the teaching level, but the strategy level from these professional coaches is supposed to put them in a position to win, and they didn't.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell that. Everybody's like, football's a team game. Okay, it's not a team game. Okay, I did my part. All right, I put in a great game plan. I mean, these players, they're horrible. My players are no good. I mean, everybody's like, no excuses. I got 22 excuses. 11 on my offense and 11 on my defense.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, and I guess the last thing I'll say before we get out of here is that as far as the coaches are concerned, it's important, and it's their responsibility as well. But it's their responsibility to hire coaches that are teachers as well, as far as these position coaches. Now, listen, if you don't hire down staff, good coaches that know how to teach the position that they're coaching, then you're going to be in a world of hurt, because you're going to be putting, like we said, the head coaches are strategists. They're going to be putting in strategies that these guys cannot perform, because the coaches underneath of the head defensive coach can't teach what it is that they're asking them to do. They don't know where to step first. They don't know where to push or where to pull. You got to have people under you that know how, because you can't teach everything. The head coach can't be everywhere. He can't be in the defensive line huddle. He can't be in the cornerbacks. He can't be with all. They all practice at different times, and then they come together toward the end of practice. So he can't be everywhere all the time. So these position coaches have to know how to teach the position and how to get the best out of each player that they are teaching. So it's important that the whole staff is in under one roof and know the position that we're going in and the direction that we're trying to get to. Because otherwise, you just have a strategy with no players. It's like playing chess and not knowing which way the players go. So if you're trying to run the rook in a diagonal fashion, then you cheat. You don't know what you're doing. You'll get knocked out. So anyway, that's the one thing. But also, let's look at in the playoffs right now. 90% of the coaches that are in the playoffs are offensive head coaches. And we got 2 defensive coaches coaching our team. So that's just a little side note, because that's important as well.
That's right.
I remember you saying one time, Big Al, is that you can't block these guys no more. The offensive line can't block these guys no more. You can't do it. But I think what's going on is that these offenses are so high as far as their intelligence and scheming people over there, scheming a holes open, that you don't have the defense can't get to the quarterback fast enough on these good teams. You can't get to a quarterback fast enough to disrupt the play. Now, every now and then it happens, of course, because you try to go downfield, you get to take more time. But a lot of these teams, man, are dinking and dunking 5-10 yards down the field. Man, they just walk down 13 plays of scoring. So we might want to think about that. I mean, how our expectations are for our coaches, because these guys are defensive players, so they're not that knowledgeable, or that's not their forte to run a good, fast, strategic offense. And that's what's important as well. As a head coach, you have to hire down schedule, which is the offense coordinator and the guys that are teaching how to run these plays. So that's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I can see that, Deacon. I mean, that makes sense. That the NFL is designed to score points. That's what brings the fans in. That's what sells tickets. That's what makes the game exciting, is points. So the defense is at a disadvantage because everybody's working against the defense.
That's right.
But our franchise is banked its bucks on defense. Most of our high picks and most of our money is on defense. If you look at the how the money is divided up, it's mostly all on defense, man. Yeah. So this is the way our franchise has been on. And when the defense doesn't perform, and they are C or D level defense, which they were, I think they were 24th or 23rd.
We was down there.
We were down there, and that's why we in the position we are now, picking number 10 or number 11 in the draft once again.
But here's the good thing about it, is we've gone through the pain already. So we can start drafting on offense now. Let's get it right. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and start moving to the offense, because let's stagger these contracts. Some guys on defense, some guys on offense. So let's go ahead and start drafting some offensive players that we can count on, and maybe the defense can be as solid as we think it is, and we can start pushing this offense forward.
Yeah, I think though I agree with Trey Z, man. We got to take a hard look at the coaching strategy. All the way around. You know what I'm saying? And even on offense, I'm not saying I'm not counting against offense, even coaching strategy, because you We gotta, you look at the guys, the 8 teams that's left. I would say each one of them coaching staffs are better than our coaching staff.
All right, man. I hear you. All right, fellas, we're gonna get out of here. Hey, listen, we appreciate y'all sticking around to the end. Those who stuck around to the end, we appreciate it. All right, we're gonna get out of here. We'll see y'all next week. We are not doing a special teams episode. Forget about it. So we're gonna move on to something else.
Aki!
So keep a lookout for us next week, and also check out the basketball shows. We do those and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Peace, fellas.
All right.